Yes, sir. So what is going on, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice Pacers. Guys, we're fresh off of Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and your Indiana Pacers have beat the New York Knicks 130 to 121. Pacers had a couple of leads in this game, and every single time the New York Knicks, they just kept coming back. But then the Indiana Pacers were able to hold them off, getting a nice solid lead going into the fourth quarter and never lost it from there. But Cody, I mean, you have a 3-1 lead over the New York Knicks as you head back to Madison Square Garden in Game 5. Teams with a 3-1 lead in playoff history in the NBA are 283-13. So basically that means almost 96% of the time the team with a 3-1 lead ends up winning the series. So, I mean, it's got to feel good if you're Indianapolis, right? You had that bum game in Game 3. Morale was at an all-time low. And then you come back Game 4, still in Gamebridge, looking for that first home win. And the Indiana Pacers got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it, we've said it. Like, this game was massive for both teams. Like, this was the game that whoever won this, you think's probably going to win this series, right? I mean, Indiana, they should have won Game 3 by all accounts. They should have. They were up by 20 at one point, right?
Yep.
So you're just like, how do they respond after that demoralizing defeat? And what have we talked about all the time with this squad, Derek, is this team never gives up. Like, even when they have those type of performances, right, where they look like crap, where they just completely don't look like themselves. You've seen it all year with this team, and that's what I think makes this team special is that they have the ability to bounce back from night to night, and that's so critical. We say that with teams all the time. Like you're going to have bad games. You're going to have games that you should have won. You're in control, and you let it slip through your fingers. And with this Pacers team, that's exactly what happened. And so, how do you respond out of that? Because the Pacers could have came out tonight and looked flat, Derek. They easily could have looked flat. They could have looked defeated, but they didn't. They came out. A strong start to this game, and credit to the Knicks, man. They are a tough team. I mean, they kept coming back and coming back and coming back, and so but when you needed it the most, you delivered and you got the job done. Even when the Knicks they got it close in the last couple minutes, it was like a 6-point game. You're like, this could easily go either way at this point, right? But just so many things that needed to go the Pacers' way tonight, and they were able to take care of business, even with definitely some moments where they had some similar issues to what they had in Game 3. Obviously not to the magnitude it was in Game 3, but some times where they took some leads, the Knicks came back, and it was just back and forth for a good majority of this game. We'll have to see. And, there's so many players you can give credit to. I'm sure we'll talk about the first guy here, Tyrese Haliburton, and what he did tonight with Pops back in the house, man. John Haliburton back in the house for the first time on this series. So, fantastic performance all the way around by this team and a tough environment. You knew the Knicks they had some life, They looked dead in the water after the first 2 games, and they had some life after Game 3, and, they had the momentum. So credit to the Pacers when it mattered the most, man. They got the job done. They handled their business. They did what they've done all year. They came back. They took a punch, but they came back, and that's what you need.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some individual performances here in a little bit, but we have to talk about one in particular right now, and you mentioned it already, Tyrese Haliburton, and what a night he had. 32 points tonight, 38 minutes, had the most minutes of any Pacer tonight, 32 points, just under 50% shooting, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, but had 12 rebounds, 15 assists, a triple-double, and 4 steals tonight, Cody. I mentioned that to you as we were ending the game. And a ever so important number, 0 turnovers. So he is the first player in NBA history to have a 30-10 in 15 game with no turnovers ever. It has never been done in the history of the NBA. This was a superstar performance, Cody. I know there's been a lot of debate. We've been seeing the national media saying that Tyrese Haliburton is not a superstar. Seeing some people say he is a superstar. Regardless on your feelings on that, he had a superstar performance tonight.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. And he even said post game, he said, I feel like I let my team down in game 3, and in certain ways, you needed more from him. You needed more from him in that performance, right? So definitely one that you needed to see Tyrese come out and attack. I mean, that's been Derek. Whenever the Pacers have lost, it's probably likely been because Tyrese hasn't attacked enough. I feel like he was way too passive in game 3 where he'd like almost give up wide open looks. He'd give up opportunities to score in order to pass it out. And it's like, no, you need to take over in those games. And so tonight he was in attack mode. And when Tyrese is in attack mode, good things are going to happen. So, yeah, credit to him, man. You talked about it. Just a fantastic. And now the sole leader in Pacer history in playoffs of triple-doubles. He's now had 2 in the playoffs. And that is the most by any Pacer in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Like I said, we'll go ahead and talk about some of those individual stats here shortly. Accredited to his performance to, like you said before, his dad being back in the building tonight for the first time since the Milwaukee series. So definitely amazing to see. But anyways, let's go into the team stats here. 51% shooting today from Indiana. Cody, that just feels like the golden number. I feel like I look at that at the end of every game, and it feels like the Pacers are almost always shooting 51% from the floor. The New York Knicks shooting 46%. Ironically enough, the New York Knicks actually shooting slightly better from 3 today than the Indiana Pacers, 43% to 40.5%. Both teams shooting 84% tonight from the free throw line. So much better from the Indiana Pacers standpoint of hitting their free throws. Knicks out-rebounded the Pacers 44 to 33. Pacers out-assisted the Knicks 29 to 17. Knicks had 17 total turnovers. The Pacers had 11. The Pacers had 20 points tonight off those turnovers versus the 9 from the New York Knicks. Fast break points. Pacers, once again, 22 points, had it. Points in the paint, the Pacers ironically beat them tonight in that. I mean, honestly, Cody, again, I know it was back and forth, and credit to the New York Knicks for, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, and those boys for, being able to stick in there despite the numerous times that Indiana was, threatening to blow the game wide open. But, I mean, it felt like another game, Cody, where, more times than not, Indiana Pacers were controlling the pace of this game. Mm-hmm. And that just kind of felt like how they won.
And that's I think, why the Knicks did what they did, is because they got the Pacers off their game in game 3. And the Pacers, like you said, they played their game. And when they play their game, they're pretty much virtually impossible to stop, right? So, yeah, the only reason the Knicks were in this game, Derek, was the rebounding, which, I don't know, man, this offseason, they got to figure that out because
the Pacers have to get better at rebounding.
They got to get better at rebounding for sure, because that was half the reason the Knicks had so many second chance opportunities was because of that, and they got to figure that out. But they, like you said, they shot better. They made their free throws. It's funny. I made a tweet a couple days ago, just like how many of these games wouldn't be close if the Pacers made their free throws? Even 80%, that's just still, you'll take that from what you had in game 3. So, yeah, Pacers did a lot of things better in this game for sure, offensively, and they played their game a little bit more. So, yeah, I mean, overall, man, it was a solid performance all the way around from a lot of different guys that you can highlight here. But, yeah, I mean, you'll take this man from, Siakam with 30 as well, who, he was huge in this game for Indiana. Didn't really do a lot in game 3. You mentioned Nesmith had the bum ankle, but still played through it and played well. He was playing really good defense on Jalen Brunson. I know Brunson had a lot of points, but if there's anybody you want locking down Brunson, it's probably him.
Don't forget that, literally 35% of Jalen Brunson's points come from the free throw line.
Every
And,
time.
half the time
So
that's not
infuriating.
because of Neesmith. That's just whatever. But, again, in actuality, Brunson, if you just ignore the fouls, he only really had 20 points. So it came to a point earlier in the game, Cody, where Rick Carlisle tried to put Ben Shepherd on Jalen Brunson, and it was a mistake. Jalen Brunson just was destroying Ben Shepherd because Ben Shepherd could never stay on him. You kind of had to put Neesmith in there, regardless of whether or not Neesmith was bummed up by it or not. He kind of just had to.
I think you just can't put him on him anymore.
No, you
at the worst, Nembhard. You got
it has to be Nembhard or it has to be Neesmith.
Shepard's not good enough a defender.
And for brief glimpses in this game, Mathurin was guarding Brunson. Yeah. And even Obi Toppin was guarding Brunson at times. Again, you have to have somebody that's quick. And, the only thing that sucked about Nembhard today is you wanted to keep Nembhard out there longer, but Nembhard was such a liability offensively today that, it was kind of hard. No wonder he got the fewest minutes of anyone tonight from the starters. So, it was hard to be able to, utilize him in that way. But you're right. Pascal Siakam, 30 burger tonight. We definitely needed that performance from him, shooting over 50% from the floor, couple rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a block. Yeah, I will admit to you, Cody, the rebounding definitely concerns me. It will concern me much more if the Pacers make it through the Knicks. And regardless of whether or not you play the Thunder or the Wolves, you're going to face a team that is better at rebounding than you.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thought because the Thunder are really good at second chance points, and Rudy Gobert is one of the best rebounders in the league. So, it's either way, the Pacers are probably going to get screwed in the finals when it comes to rebounding. Who knows? But, yeah, I digress. Neesmith, like you said, 16 points tonight, shooting 62% from the floor, perfect 4 of 4. Great defense tonight. Had the highest plus minus. Miles Turner fouled out in this game, 13 points in 33 minutes. Also, the problem you're starting to see, Cody, with Miles is he's scoring very early, and then he's doing absolutely nothing the rest of the game. Absolutely nothing. Sure, he gets 3 blocks, but he's not rebounding. He's not scoring outside of the first quarter. He only shot 8 shots. He shot the fewest shots today, and yet he was one of the most efficient. I don't know why all of a sudden he can't become part of the offense a little bit more in those circumstances. And then you saw in the last 2 games, he got into foul trouble. So, it's been a rough 2 games for Miles Turner. Mm-hmm. I hope he can turn it around because, he needs to be better if the Pacers want to, advance in this series and even have a chance in the finals.
Yes, 100%. No doubt about that. Yeah, he's not been great, I'll be honest, the last couple games. I don't know what's the deal with Miles, but even like shooting-wise, I know it was a little bit better today, but I just don't feel like he's been hitting what he usually hits from the three-point line. So, yeah, he's got to figure that out. And the free throws haven't been great for Miles either. Like, he hasn't been great free throw shooting either. So, I don't know what's going on with Miles, but he's got to figure it out. Like you said, you expect him, for as big as he is, to get a lot more rebounds, and he just doesn't. He loses a lot of times in that department. And if he can't score efficiently, then, like, that's his bread and butter. Like, what's he doing, really, at this point? And I will give credit, man. I do feel like Tony Bradley has been playing really, really well in relief of Thomas Bryant, because I don't know if Thomas Bryant's just hurt or if something else is going on, but
says it was coach's decision. So, but the problem, that's the thing though, right? Like, Thomas Bryant is a liability defensively because, he's a liability defensively because he can't guard off the pick and roll. He's not agile enough, and he doesn't even play good defense on Mitchell Robinson underneath, who has no offensive game whatsoever. So, and then on the offensive side of things, sure, Thomas Bryant might be slightly better offensively because he can shoot the three ball, but you can't utilize him in the offense, and he turns the ball over. Bradley doesn't turn the ball over. Bradley's not going to get you 10, 15 points off the bench. He's not going to do that, but you can put him in there for 8 to 10 minutes in a game and ask him to play semi-competent defense and, at least keep things from getting out of control at least.
Yeah, 100%. And he can actually get rebounds, which is huge, and play some defense. So that's definitely important there. And you had him on Karl Anthony Towns for most of this game, and I felt like he played better defensively than Miles Turner did. So, yeah, I'd like to see him getting some more minutes because I felt like when you had that lineup where you had TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, Ben Shepherd, and Thomas Bryant, it just was horrible. It was just like terrible. It was just so I'm glad they made the change. I think it was much needed. Thomas Bryant, every time he was on the court, you immediately went down. Like something immediately bad happened. He fouled or he just didn't play defense or whatever it was. So, yeah, good to see Bradley getting some minutes here, man. And I don't know if we've talked about it already, but how about freaking Benedict Mathurin, man? Like, we have been talking about it. People have been talking about it. Mathurin has not been good this series and really hasn't been great this playoffs at all. So I just want to shout him out, man. He had a very strong performance today. I mean, a lot of people, heck, after being called out by Reggie Miller, Derek, and saying he has been an absolute, liability this series. He comes out tonight and in 12 minutes has 20 points. So, I mean, that's what you needed. If Benedict Mathurin can build off of this, Derek, I think the Pacers can beat anybody. I do think they can. But he's got to be more consistent. He can't be as streaky as he's been. And it's been a while since we've seen Mathurin do that. So hopefully it's the start of something good here for him. Hopefully he took the criticism to heart here. And now we're going to see some more smart basketball from Benedict.
Yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal what Mathurin did today. And, from the first shot, Cody, when he came in at the late part of that first quarter, and that first shot he hit, I mean, you could tell he was locked in. Like, he saw he had that little bit of space, he caught it, and just let that thing go. I mean, it was such an easy moment from there. And you're right, credit to him. 10 of 11 from the free throw line tonight, 5 of 8 from the floor, 20 points tonight. It's amazing that he was a -2 on overall. I can't believe that's even a stat because he had 12 minutes tonight. 12 minutes and he had 20 points. He had the third most points on the Pacers tonight and played a third of the minutes of the rest of the guys, which is crazy. I mean, that's one of the most efficient nights that you will ever see from most basketball players, let alone Benedict Mathurin. And it was great to see that. He obviously had to have been hearing it. Obviously, when Reggie Miller speaks about you in that regard, you're obviously going to hear it. And, of course, I'm sure he's seen it online. People are like, why in the heck is Mathurin even playing at this point? I mean, because, again, this was a guy that was like, Cody, when we heard Naismith and Nembhard were going to be the starters this year and Mathurin was not going to be a starter and he was going to be one of the guys coming off the bench, we're like, man, what this would be great because we're going to have a guy that can consistently score 15, 20 points off the bench. And he scored more points tonight than what he's had in the previous 4 games combined for in the last 4 games of the playoffs. So, I mean, it really cannot be understated just how big of an impact he had in minimizing the runs that the New York Knicks had when Haliburton or Nembhard were off the court.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that was a huge reason why, you blew that lead was because Mathurin and so many other guys it just was so bad. Like it was such a net negative every time they were on the court. So to have Mathurin come out and have this type of performance, you needed it, Derek. Absolutely every single point from Mathurin, you needed it tonight. And it's good to see him get some of his mojo back a little bit because you missed him.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal night for the Pacers. Again, you had 5 guys in double digits tonight. Only starter that didn't have double digits was Nembhard. Obi Toppin as well, having quite possibly the biggest shot of the night to put a dagger for the Pacers to be up by 10 with 47 seconds left. Outside of that, nothing else that's too crazy. Cody, and you know what? I know Jalen Brunson obviously is the leading scorer for the New York Knicks, but I'll be completely honest with you, man, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but it feels like the best basketball that the New York Knicks play is when Brunson is off the court and Karl Anthony Towns is at the lead.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was one of the only pluses for the Knicks tonight. He was the only plus on the starting roster. Jalen Brunson had the second worst plus minus with a minus 16. Again, I know he shoots 31, but like he's a defensive liability, and the game has to always go through him when he does it, and he always has like 3+ turnovers in every game. It just feels like the offense just isn't as efficient as it could be when it's ran through someone else's hands rather than Brunson's.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it's so annoying when literally half his points are just going to the free throw line because he throws his head back and gets a foul call every single time. It's so infuriating. But it was good to see Karl Anthony Towns actually get called on his crap today from freaking hooking the Pacers players. Like,
yeah, that freaking hook.
So annoying. And he doesn't get called half the time. So it's like he does that, and then the Pacers get called for a foul. And it's like, God, you should just change the Knicks to the freaking New York foul baiters at this point. That's what they do.
Yes.
And so I'm sorry, but I freaking hate the way the Knicks play basketball. I hate it.
I know.
They don't play the
sucks.
same way. It's so freaking like, it's so painful to watch. I'm just going to say that. Like, it's not enjoyable at all to watch the Knicks play basketball.
And that's what everyone else is saying, right? Like, that's why people don't want the Knicks to go to the finals, or at least people that don't cover this sport for a living, at least, are saying, because nobody wants to watch Jalen Brunson and SGA have a free throw foul off. Like, nobody wants that to be the thing, because you will see 50 free throw attempts between the two of them, and it's just ridiculous. It's like nobody wants to see that. People want to watch actual Indiana Pacer basketball actually move around. And for anyone that actually says that a Pacers Thunder finals will be the most boring finals ever, you were only saying that because of the fact that it's the 2 smallest markets in the NBA. That's the only reason you're saying that.
Yeah.
You don't believe that it's actually going to be boring. You're just saying nobody's going to watch it just because it's 2 small market teams that nobody cares about. It doesn't matter. Those 2 teams have been playing the best basketball since the start of 2025.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Well, that's it, man. That's game 4. Any final words here before we sound off?
I mean, can't emphasize how huge this win is. I mean, for this team, like, now you have the opportunity here. I mean, it's crazy how this like series has mirrored like the second round as well. It's kind of wild, actually. Like, Pacers go up, in opposing territory, 2 games. They lose game 3. They come back and they win in game 4. So hopefully it repeats like it did against the Cavs. Pacers take care of business in a couple days here back at the Garden, and they can round it out here, man, and get ready for the NBA Finals.
All I just want to say, man, is how is that for overrated?
That's
How
right,
is that for overrated?
I love it. The haters are very silent right now.
That was one of the best things that could have happened for Tyrese Haliburton. to know that collectively there were a bunch of people around the league that thought this guy was overrated, and then to witness that was just, again, it's just another example that Tyrese Haliburton is him. He is absolutely him. This guy is a star in this league and, approaching superstar status as we speak. And that's all I'm going to say. And that's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. This is just like, it's great to just have the haters eat some crow right now. It's so nice because you've just seen so many stupid people online just say so many stupid things about the Pacers. And I'm like, you don't know the Pacers. You don't understand this team at all. Like, y'all want so badly for this big market team to make it. And I'm just going to say it. Pacers have been the better basketball team through 4 games. They have.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's what we do for this one, guys. Let us know your thoughts on this game. Job's not done yet. Pacers still got to get one more, but you definitely feel a lot better about your odds going in knowing you have a 2-game cushion right now. But the Pacers, let's go finish it in 5.
One more.
That's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much. And as always, go Pacers.